And good day. Welcome to an episode of Territories Talk Point of Order. Today we have live and direct PLP's upcoming candidate, Mr. Shomari Talbot-Woolridge. And point of order is about telling the truth because sometimes people put out things that aren't the truth and you actually have to point of order them in the House of Parliament or in the Senate and put the facts out. So, without further ado, I now bring in Mr. Shomari Talbot-Woolridge. How you doing, Mr. Woolridge?
Good afternoon, Mr. Famous, MP Famous. How are you? Good morning, actually.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So tell us who's Shomari Talbot-Woolridge, because some people don't know.
Well, I am last week I was officially unveiled as the Progressive Labour Party's candidate for constituency number 9, Smith West. I am the current chairman of the PLP Youth Wing, Progressive Minds. Done a lot of work in the past year. And we celebrated our year anniversary of this current iteration of the Youth Wing with this new executive. So that's been really exciting in the past year, seeing the growth of the Youth Wing. And then, of course, I was someone who is involved in the union as a shop steward and have been immersed in that culture as well with working people, standing up for their rights on the front lines in the workplace. So I'm someone who is immersed in that culture and that life of unionism as well.
Okay, so tell us why, for a young person, I don't want to ask your age because that's not appropriate, but for obviously a young person, why have you seen yourself get involved in politics?
Well, the biggest reason for young people to get involved is number one, we are going to be the ones that have to deal with the issues and the obstacles of the 21st century. So I think there's no one better equipped than having young people involved in that process. We have challenges ahead of us that involve technology, AI, um, crypto, all sorts of things that are coming down the pipeline. And it is no one better than the people who grew up in the technology and information age to deal with this ever evolving world. Young people have the energy and the ambition and the innovation to bring forward a fresh lens to our political landscape. And that's something that I've continued to offer the party and the youth wing as well. And I'm really I'm really happy to see more young people coming into the fray. We see Senator Misha Bubler, his new senator as he was unveiled last week, and or was it the week before that? And then Senator Hodgson, who is also the unveiled as a candidate in C25. Sorry, so it's good to see young people getting involved in the process and lending our ideas to the political process.
So, with that being said, why C9? Because without going into too much details, we know that it's a battleground seat.
Well, why C9? First and foremost, I think that any person who wants to represent a people, you want to have a connection to those people. And when you talk about the constituents in C9, I am one of those constituents. I am one of those voting members of constituency 9. I've lived here basically practically my entire life. So the people in C9 are not just as a candidate, they're not just my constituents, they're my neighbors. So I see people every
Very
day.
good. That's a
So
very good.
I am.
That's a very good
You gotta
answer.
let me finish. So
No,
yeah, I
I
see these
know. I'm point
every day,
ordering. I'm point ordering.
and beyond that, I also have um, very close family connections in this constituency. Um, I'm a Shomari Talbot-Woolridge. Speaks for itself. I'm related to Jim Woolridge, and you know, people love her, and people in my family, and they know people in my family, even outside of Uncle Jim. So I have a connection, not just of being in the constituency and being a neighbor of the constituents, but I am someone whose family has also had a legacy within this constituency. And I know that the people of Smith West and people around the country want to see young people as well. So that's another exciting, motivating factor for the voters in Smith West.
Yeah, I was what I was trying to say. I was adding to your point that it's important when a MP or representative is from the community, because it's not as if, let's say you lived in Warwick and you're trying to represent Devonshire, you don't really
Mhm.
have any close connections. Number one, and then
Mhm.
number two, you don't people. This is Bermuda. People's going to be asking, who's this boy here? Who's this girl here? Where she
Mhm.
come from? That's half the battle in Bermuda, is people knowing who you are, right? And then the other part is the other advantage is that whatever the concerns are in the constituency, you're right there, so you know it because
Mhm.
you drive that road 5 times yesterday, so nobody got to somebody calling you tell you that, oh, it's a pothole in the road. Yeah, I know, Miss Smith. I'm on it, Miss Smith.
Yeah,
So these
exactly.
are things that are advantageous to persons working and living in their constituency, because um, there can be no greater advocate for your constituency than someone who's from that constituency, right? So
Exactly.
I want to applaud you for taking up the mantle in C9, because it's definitely a challenging seat for either party. It's challenging, right? Um,
Well, it seems it's more challenging for one party right now, but we'll
well,
leave that.
let's gotta do what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we'll
So
leave that.
tell us about a little bit about these couple pictures you sent us.
Well, that guy right there, the one that took the picture, that's Terry Foote. Is one of the constituents that he canvassing, and people come. You as you canvass, you people come along, and he's one of the people who said, I see you out, and I want to get involved. I want to canvass with you. He's been out with me a couple times. This is just us on the trail. He said, we got to take some pictures. So I said, okay. We pulled out the pen camera, took some pictures. So I'm really grateful for his support and everyone who's canvassed with me so far. And that's Mr. Misha
Tell us
Fubler,
about this
our
one.
newest senator. That's Mr. Misha Fubler, our newest senator. He came down to Smith's all the way from Warwick to lend a helping hand. Most of the time I canvass by myself, so I'm very grateful when someone does come by. And I do have to return the favor for Misha, go up Warwick one day and canvass with him. But this is us around Kildare. His family has a homestead in the area, so we decided that would be the perfect area to go and canvass with Misha.
Okay. And tell us about this one, this canvassing as well.
Well, when you canvass, you obviously have to hear the concerns of your constituents, and I'm somebody I like to, if especially if I feel like I can do it independently from going to any government administration departments or whatnot. I try to get it done. So, and I thank you for lending a helping hand with this one. So this is us trying to clear up this drain on McGall's Hill, and still got some work to do at that drain as well. We wasn't able to finish the job, but we did make a lot of progress. So we do still have to rectify that issue in its completion, but we did um, mitigate some of the challenges in the area. But that's just us clearing that drain and helping up the terrales, of course, who stay just on the other side of that wall there.
Okay. And tell us about this picture.
That's my man, Mr. Burt, Mr. George Burt. He is really and truly, when you canvas, it's not just going to people's houses and trying to get a vote, you really do get some heartwarming experiences. And this is Mr. Burt. He was the man who laid the first brick, the cornerstone of the city hall that stands in the city of Hamilton. So he is not just a constituent, but he's a national icon in our country, someone who is recognized for his contributions to the building industry, the construction industry in Bermuda. That's Mr. Burt, Mr. George Burt,
So
a
tell me
Bermudian icon.
what has been the sort of, when you go canvassing, what has been sort of the feedback?
Well, the feedback to myself is that people, like I said, people love seeing a young person. I think that people um, have taken to my personality and are really excited to see someone who is, younger, but also eager to get things rolling and get things moving, and someone who's been constantly trying to canvass as much as possible. Most people in this constituency, they are worried about the more national issues. So while there might be a hedge that needs to be trimmed, or there may be some speed bumps that maybe need to be put up in a lane, mostly focuses on pensions, the cost of living, housing. Those are the key issues. But for myself, I think people are receptive of me, and they really are loving to see a young person, especially one that lives in the area, putting themselves forward.
So let me ask you a trick question. When you run into, I don't know if you have, but eventually you will. When you run into somebody that is staunchly against your party or our party, I should say, how do you handle this sort of situations? Because it's easy to run into I got you, I'm PLP. But what happens when you run into somebody that may not necessarily be anti-PLP, but not quite sure if they want to vote PLP?
Well, when I go to someone's doorstep and they might not be receptive to the party, sometimes they just need a reminding of what the party has done. I have been to a doorstep, and sometimes it's just the communication with things and just keeping people abreast on the things that the government is doing. So, in particular, one case, I went to someone's house, and obvious, their history was not supportive of the PLP, but we still knocked on their door. And one of the things that came up with them was the issues with the road paving, and they were really going off about, oh, the road was paved, but you didn't pave the other side. And once we explained to them that, well, Balco still has to do some work, so we didn't want to pave that and then have to go back, they were much receptive. So I think once we really sit down and also focusing on the national issues, taking the parties out of it, but just focusing on the issues that that they are obviously, because most people you could tell if they're passionate about the issue because they'll bring it up to you, even if they're maybe a supporter, maybe the anti-PLP or support a different party, but also getting that personal connection with them and just saying, look, I understand this. This is an issue. This is how we're tackling it, and really just speaking to them and on a personal level, and just creating that human connection with them, so that then when you are speaking with them, they take this out of it, and just see you as a person. So that's the first thing you do, and then you can, bring more political talk into it.
All right, so thanks for that. Let's move on to some of the stuff that the PLP is doing or has done that people can see for themselves. Great. What's your thoughts on this? Tell us about this.
Well, yeah, we're doing a lot of work when it comes to jobs in Bermuda. We are seeing the much anticipated construction firsthand, that the work is going to see that commence. Um, we have seen the workforce development continue put out their plans, whether it is for hospitality industry jobs and getting people training, on that. There are a multitude of things that the government has put out for people to get the training for the jobs that they do want. So there are a lot of opportunities that we as Bermudians, we should be taking advantage of, that the government has put out, the workforce development, and of the likes. So definitely we have to start taking advantage of it. But the workforce is growing. There are places for Bermudians. We just have to put ourselves and apply ourselves.
Yeah, because one of the things I want to speak from a personal standpoint. One of the things when I grew up, my generation grew up, or your dad's generation, we grew up. Most people had some trade or the other, whether it's a mechanic, a painter, carpenter,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. That was common. That most black men, especially, had a trade. Even if you weren't
Of the
that
trade,
good
yeah.
at it, you had a trade. And
Mm-hmm.
worldwide trends have changed over the years where most people are not doing trades. Even in America, they have to import skilled labor because most Americans are not doing trades now. But
Correct.
everybody has some form of transportation, whether it's bike, car, or catching the bus, you or ferry, use some form of transportation. So you need mechanics. Everybody lives somewhere, so you need a mason, you need a carpenter, you need an electrician, you need a plumber,
Plumber.
right? And now people are moving into everybody in Bermuda, well, almost everybody in Bermuda's got air conditioning, so you need HVAC.
HVAC.
And now we're moving into people going into renewable energy, which is solar
Mm-hmm.
or computer, right? All of these things
Yeah.
need technicians to fix them. And if we as Bermudians don't do it, the reality is that the
Somebody else, yeah.
we're going to have to import labor to do it. So when you see people on social media saying, "Oh, all these non-Bermudians doing all this work," they're only here because there's a gap, right? And we have to be honest with ourselves, and be honest with each other. There's a gap. How do we work? How do we fix
Mm-hmm.
this gap? The government is going to provide courses, but we need young and not so young Bermudians of all genders, all races, to
Mm-hmm.
take up these courses because these are things that you will never not need somebody to fix. Right?
I think one
Um,
of the things that we have to focus on is ensuring that Bermudians, especially when it comes, we don't want just the Bermudians in the entry level positions. Especially someone who works and has involvement in the tourism industry. You know, we want to see Bermudians curating that experience. We want to see Bermudians um, curating what the Bermuda experience is. They can do it better than a Canadian or someone from the Netherlands or England or wherever or America. So yes, I understand that there are gaps, but we have to ensure that Bermudians are being pushed upward so that they are getting the jobs, especially the decision-making jobs. We don't want just the entry-level positions, but the jobs where you're making decisions, especially when it comes to industries like tourism, where we want Bermudians to curate what the Bermudian experience is, because there's no one better to do it. So that's what I would add with that.
all right, understood. Fair enough. Tell us about this.
Yes, taxi drivers. Actually, this would be the second reduction in the taxi payroll, if I'm correct, right? Because I think it went from $3,000 when the PLP first came to government, then it went down to 1,000, and now it's going to 600, if I'm not mistaken. So we are seeing taxi drivers are seeing a reduction in their payroll. So I'm pretty sure that they will be happy about that. And I think we're seeing payroll reduction across the board, especially for low income earners, the lowest income earners in the country. So that's something that that we are seeing initiatives from this government.
Mhm.
And then of course affordable housing. I know Harmony Hall is on track to be completed in what is it, first quarter 2025. That is something that is going to be
One
very.
phase of there's different phases.
It's just one phase. Okay, okay, so
There's
that's the first phase.
no there's first phase was completed last year. The second phase is going to be completed next year, and then there's maybe two other phases after that.
Okay, so it's you see Harmony Hall and the project moving along up there. You have a lot of affordable housing initiatives, and look, we all know that that is something that is on front of mind of Bermudians. You spend a lot of Bermudians spend a lot of their monthly paycheck on housing. So addressing the affordable housing crisis is something that we should be that we are tackling, and it's good to see that a lot more affordable housing are coming online. Um, and also we're seeing that you know with um, with housing, we're seeing that the Bermuda government is doing the mortgage guarantee program. So that's what 38 new first-time home owners. So that's real good that we're seeing that not just we have 38 new home owners that this government program has brought to be, but also that they're up to date and they're current and on all their obligations. So that's cool. That just shows that the program is not just working, but it's ensuring that people can keep up to date on the obligations.
Yeah, the thing is that the cost of living is such worldwide. Let's be honest, it's not
Hmm.
just Bermuda. The cost of living is worldwide, where rents are going high, mortgage rates are high, nothing's going down, everything's going up. So the government, right, has to intervene somehow or the other, whether it's
Hmm.
through providing affordable housing or providing a mechanism for lower mortgage rates. And the reality, right, and just a point of order for those who say otherwise, the reality is in the last 2 years alone, the Bermuda government, through the Bermuda Housing Corporation, has renovated over 70 units for that are fully occupied now, versus the previous government did less than 10, right? So the facts remain. There's only one government has put value into affordable housing for Bermudians, and that's the PLP, right? Now, if the other government, if they ever get back in, they need to continue doing so, because the fact of the matter is rents are not going to go down. And we, as whoever's government, has to provide affordable housing for our people. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, exactly.
lastly, this one.
So what's that self piece of empty princess? So of course, this is something that would have taken a lot of conversation in the past 4 or 5 ish years, of course, and now we've seen the groundbreaking and the work has commenced. Excuse me, has commenced over at the Southampton Princess property site. So a lot of good work to reboost our tourism numbers. And of course, this is not just a hotel, but it has the convention spaces, the restaurants. I know the Bermudians miss Windows on the Sun and Jasmine Lounge. So I
What
know
you know?
that
What
this
you
is
what you
gonna.
know about that?
I know a little bit about it. So I know that Bermudians are anticipating the reopening of Vermont Southampton, which is a staple in Bermuda. And we saw the Waterlot Inn that was reopened last week. I had dinner at Waterlot. It was very nice there. So
Oh,
we're seeing
you
that.
could afford water lot, bro. You really
Well, it
got
was
water.
complimentary. It was complimentary. So,
Okay, all right. You gotta be careful of those complimentary things. Now you're in the political arena. You gotta watch out for those
I
complimentary
gotta
things, bro.
I gotta um I gotta report all my gifts. Yeah, but that was I dined at Waterlot, and I can tell you that to see that place open again with all those people there, it was something very special. I hadn't been there for quite a while, so I was happy to see not only Waterlot open, but so many people excited to come in, and of course, that is a staple of Bermuda, one of the premier restaurants in Bermuda. So see that open, it is a glimmer of hope of what is to come at the Fairmont Southampton.
Yeah, and the thing is that some people don't realize is that just from the construction phase alone, which may be up to 2 years, I'm not sure, it's
Yeah.
going to provide 500 to 700 jobs. Now, we go back to the point of we need more Bermudians in the trades. A lot of those jobs are going to be with, realistically, with non-Bermudians, right? Because we don't
Yes.
have enough. We simply do not have enough Bermudians, whether they're masons, carpenters, electricians, security, electronic, all of that, whatever spectrum is needed for that hotel, we don't have enough Bermudians, right? So there's the reality is that there are going to be more hotels and other building projects coming online that are going to constantly need A to be constructed and B to be maintained. And again, I beat that drum because I'm in the trades, and I've made a very good living off of being in the trades. And right now, I have somebody on my roof who I'm gotta gotta sell my one of my fingers in order to pay them to do my roof. But the point I'm getting at is that these are things that constantly need to be done. And I encourage your generation to you know take advantage of the opportunities to learn these things because once the construction phase is over, then you still need people to maintain the hotel. You still need people to work in the jasmine lawn, to work in water lot, to work in windows on the sun. All these sorts. They may not be the same names, but to work in these places, right? People
Correct.
to work in management, as you say, as you rightly said. So yeah. So as we wind up, what would you say to the people, to the young people in Bermuda, as far as some people may have a little bit of political apathy? What would you say to them?
Well, I think that you said it best when you talked about jobs and how if we as Bermudians don't apply ourselves and get out there and don't make sure that we're doing the job that we don't want a foreigner or whatnot to have, we have to ensure that we're qualified and apply for it. And the same thing in politics. We have to make sure that we are filling the positions and making sure that we're doing what we have to do in our political arena because we at the end of the day should be making sure what we should be determining what Bermuda looks like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. So if we don't take that space, somebody else is going to take that space and they're going to make decisions that may not be best for you and your families. So
Mhm.
if we as a country and if we as a community, if we don't if we don't if we don't do the job, if we don't run our country, if we don't make sure that we're doing what we have to do, somebody else is going to do it, and they're not going to have your best interest in heart. They're going to make sure they have what they have for them. So if we want to ensure that we have what we want for our families and our neighbors and our cousins and our people in our communities, then we have to step up and make sure we take that space. Because it's like I said about the jobs, there's no person better to curate the Bermuda experience than a Bermudian. There's no person better um, to lead Bermuda into the future than Bermudians. And if we want a 21st century Bermuda, we have to invest in 21st century Bermudians. And as you can see, we're doing a lot of that here now.
Okay. So, in closing, what would you say to the people of C9? You got 1 minute to tell the people of C9 why they should support Shamori Talbot-Woolridge.
Well, right now, C9 is going through a process of rebeautification, getting us back to our best. Everybody sees the work that's been done middle road, and yes, the other side of the road has to be paved. And as soon as Belco completes the work, we'll be doing that. But we also see the debris that's been cleaned up on Collectors Hill, on Sale Road, and skimming through Hermitage Road. Vermont Road and whatnot. So we're seeing the progress in C9, and whether the headlines and whatnot are going on, we're keeping our heads down and our sleeves rolled up. We're getting to work. We're not indulging in the silliness, but we are making sure that this constituency is the best that it always has been. I
Yeah.
sorry to the ones to our east, our west, sorry. But we're gonna continue to make sure that our constituency is in tip-top shape because just like I was speaking to someone today. People in Smith West, we always take pride in our property, and just like we want our roads and our roads and whatnot to be in tip-top shape as well. So I'm working to continue with that, and going to be continuing to meet everybody on the doorstep, hearing your concerns and taking those concerns and fighting for them, and ensuring that I'm addressing the issues that you bring towards me.
Well, I don't mind, as somebody who lives in C9, I don't mind C9 being beautified. But as someone who represents C11, I'm down for the friendly competition to see, make sure both our constituencies are well maintained, because the people of Devonshire deserve Devonshire and Smiths, because part of C9 is in Devonshire and Smiths, and part of C11 is in Devonshire and Smiths. So we share more than we share the parish, two parishes actually, right? So,
Yeah.
So again, here you have it, folks. Point of order: the facts, not the fiction. Shomari Talbot-Woolridge, PLP candidate for Smith's West C9, and we will be back next week with another person giving you the facts, not the fiction, because this is point of order. Thank you, Shomari Talbot-Woolridge. And
thank you, and thank you for all your help and all your patience and all your assistance during this campaign, and everything you do for the party. Actually,
all right, my brother. Take care. As we say in PLP.
PLP all the way, all the way,
All the way, PLP.